In this video, I'm going to show you how to combine the method of addressing the text inside the element, which I showed you at the beginning of this course, with the other basic concepts that you learned about selectors. Let's get back to the workflow, which we went through in the beginning of this course. Remember, this was when we were saving the information from the Facebook page, so number of likes, followers, and the website, to our data table. So this is how we got the number of followers, number of likes, and URL, the website of that page saved here. Our taskbot was visiting every profile and every page, and then it was getting that information by simply searching for keywords inside those elements. So it was done by using text equals and then getting those keywords for people follow this, people like this, and HTTP for the website. So that worked. But now I want to show you what happens if we also want to save the email address. Well, what we could do, we could say, let's look for a keyword, and the keyword is going to be this character at. But as you can see, it's also here. So it would happen is that this is also going to be saved. In fact, we can try this out. So let's first build it that way and see what happens. So save to data table, and I've already created here a column called email. That information we've already saved, and that's why I'm just going to deactivate this building block, as we have already seen how this works. I'm going to save to data table, text equals. What I'm doing here is that my taskboard is going to search for an element that contains at, and that I'm going to save as a plain text to my data table Facebook leads, column email, save. And now you will see that if I run this taskboard to make it faster for us, let me delete this too, so that it just opens one profile, and then we can see what data it saves. So now the taskboard opens that profile, it saves something, and let's see what it is. As you can see, it saved the Facebook kind of handle, but it didn't save the email address. And we're actually looking for an email address. So the way we can do it is that we can combine sort of the hierarchy of the of normal selector logic with the text method. So the way we can do it, we can try to identify how can we narrow down the selector to just this section. And by narrowing down to this section, you can then use text equals. So you would say, within this section, find me an element that contains at as a character. But one word of caution, I already went through this, and I realized that there is no attribute or no value on Facebook which can help me actually narrow down my selector to just this section. And I just want to show it to you that all of these are divs, and there is virtually no attribute at all. That is identifiable or unique in a way that I can simply address that element by using the attributes and the values. This is why this is one of those situations where I actually need to use the hierarchy. And I'm going to show you one quick workaround. The workaround is using the plugin copy CSS selector, even though it would copy most likely also the values which are not reliable, but it still help us identify the hierarchy of the elements so that we can save the effort of actually defining that hierarchy on our own. So if now I paste it, as you can see, it combines, it does contain a lot of those elements which we cannot make use of. So I'm going to sort of clean it from this noise by deleting all these values and just leaving the tags. So remember, this should be still there. I also don't need this, and we can check this in the console to see if this can be found. So I'm hitting arrow up. and then I'm entering this one, and the selector was found. So your question may be, but why can't we just use this selector? Why now actually combine it with the text equals add? Well, the reason is that on every Facebook page, this section with about is structured in a different way. So sometimes the email is going to be the seventh in the list, maybe sometimes eighth, sometimes it's going to be in the first position. This is because it really depends what actually page owners include here in terms of information. And by now you can realize that this has no other identifier other than actually the hierarchy and then the number of the item in that list. So if, for example, this page did not have the website, then this will break, or maybe it won't break, but it would get then this element and not anymore the email address. This is because this selector here is structured around the number of this item within this list. So we need to get rid of this NS child. What this would lead to, that this selector right now would address any element inside this about section. And because we also have here tag A, most likely it will address just those which contain a link. We can test it out. So let's just hit arrow up, document query selector all, and I'm going to delete here NS child 7. I'm going to hit enter. And as you can see here, I'm getting here different elements. So it's not unique enough. So what I can do now is I can go back here and I can use this selector, and now I can add greater than twice, and that signifies essentially filter. So I'm saying find this selector and filter, or find all the selectors, but get me only one that corresponds to my filter, and my filter is going to be text equals at. Now let's try to use this selector. We cannot check it on the console because it contains some of that unique logic with the text filter that is unique to our application. That I'm going to save. And let's run this taskbot and see if this now works. So as you can see, the taskbot opens that page automatically. And there will be probably actually no profile, no email saved, because I just realized that page did not contain any. So that's why let's get this page, because we know that there is an email inside. And by the way, if you encounter this situation that your task board, that let's say the page does not contain the information that you're looking for, that's totally okay, because the bot will just save nothing and will continue with the next iteration. It won't break your workflow. All right, as you can see here, the email was saved this time. And this is how you can combine the selector logic that you're already aware of with the text equal method. I also want to show you one more way of doing it, and it's just another alternative, but it's doing the exact same thing in a way. Instead of using the filter option, I could also simply go to the console and see which tag contains that text. As you can see here this text is inside the A tag. And I could add a sort of characteristic to this particular tag. And that I can do just like we're doing with this colon and s child. I could also do it with the text. So what I need to do is text and then open bracket, and then the keyword that we're looking for, close the bracket, and this would do essentially the same thing. The only difference is that here you would need to be aware that you need to add this to the element that contains this text. So you cannot add it, for example, here because it doesn't contain that text, but you need to find the exact tag in that hierarchy that contains the text, and then you can add it there. Well, usually it doesn't matter that much which of these two you are using. It's just that the first one saves you some work so that you do not need to look exactly for which tag has this text. But in some situations, this may be a little bit more precise and could be better. Hopefully that helped. Thanks for watching.